What is up, everybody? It's Dante Walton here. Today we're gonna do a video that's a little bit coming out a little bit later than I hoped for, but I'm just getting over some sort of sickness here. I could barely speak for like a long amount of time, and this might be a little bit of a lengthy video here, so feeling a little bit better. But I do want to talk about some of my favorite shows of 2022. Kind of do a little bit of a ranking here. So here's the deal. I saw a good amount of shows last year. There's still a ton that I didn't get to watch. Like I just hadn't gotten to it yet, or some that I don't know. There's also a lot that I just wasn't interested in, honestly. So if you don't see it on here, I probably either didn't bother watching it or haven't had the chance to watch it yet. It's coming up soon. You know, I kind of have a big backlog for shows and games and movies and a bunch of stuff. So hey, I'm surprised I saw this many shows, but once I counted up like every single show that had episodes aired in 2022 that I'm actually caught up with, it actually ended up being exactly 50 shows. So hey, I might as well do a top 50, you know. So I'm gonna be ranking these 50 to number one. 50 being my least favorite of the shows I saw last year, and number one being my favorite. And what's gonna be on here is shows that aired new episodes in 2022. Doesn't necessarily have to be a show that premiered last year, but just aired episodes. And I'm not including like shows that I saw for the first time, because there were some of those, but they didn't air last year. They aired like before. So without further ado, let's start. Oh, another disclaimer. The ranking is just based on the episodes that came out last year. I'm not like ranking shows overall, like their overall run, because number 50, you'll see. Number 50, we have South Park. Overall, I really like South Park as a show. Just like the season that aired, 2022, honestly, like wasn't funny at all to me. Like I said, I do enjoy the show overall. I've enjoyed most of the episodes I've seen, but I don't know, they're a little bit off their game, I guess, this year. I'm not including the streaming wars like TV or Paramount Plus specials in this. I'm just including the actual season of South Park that came out. It wasn't too many episodes. I felt like it was like 6 episodes or something like that. But I don't know. Like the storylines just weren't all that funny to me, to be honest. But it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't really funny, I gotta say. At number 49, we have iCarly. Honestly, like a big factor for me even watching the show is like the nostalgia I had, like for the original iCarly on Nickelodeon, like when I was a kid. The reboot isn't like terrible or anything either. It's just not too funny, but I don't know. I'm honestly gonna keep watching, you know. But don't really have much else to say about that. Interesting that they added Josh Peck to the cast. Don't really find his character all that interesting or anything, but it's cool that they added him in, because I always thought him and Miranda Cosgrove, they worked well together on Drake and Josh and all that, so it's kind of cool to see him on the show now. At number 48, we have a new show that premiered last year, Lopez versus Lopez. This is a sitcom, NBC, like kind of loosely or kind of based on like the real life dynamic between George Lopez and his daughter, Mayan Lopez. They're also the producers and stars of the show. They play like versions of themselves. Kind of a fairly standard sitcom. The premise is kind of interesting. The show itself, again, not all too funny, but in the last episode that aired, like a Christmas episode, they had a really cool, I don't know, some really cool callbacks if you're a fan of the George Lopez sitcom from like the early 2000s, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you too. It was always on like 3 a.m., Nick at Night and all that. I did watch the reruns of Nick at Night, but I didn't watch that show when it first aired, but there was a nice callback to fans of that show, so that was fun to watch. At number 47, we have Is It Cake on Netflix, a reality competition show. The premise is kind of interesting. Like they have to try to recreate like real life objects, but in cake form, and they got to try to fool the judges into not thinking theirs is cake. Premise is fairly simple, an easy watch, not anything too crazy. They didn't really, I don't know, with like the actual entertainment factor, like I don't know, the premise itself is more interesting than the actual show, if that makes sense. Don't really have much else to say about that. Yeah. Number 46, we have the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. This is the reboot of the Disney Channel cartoon Proud Family, which I grew up loving that show. This new version of Disney Plus is okay. The animation style is a little bit different. They got a lot of, pretty sure, almost all of like the original cast came back. They wrote out Orlando Brown's character, which is honestly is not surprising. So, but there's also new characters like Kiki Palmer has a character, and A Boogie with the Hoodie. Who else? Zachary Quinto and Billy Porter, stuff like that. And they have a lot of guest stars in there as well. It's an okay reboot, I gotta say. I like when they're able to talk on like a lot. Like one good thing about the original Proud Family, even though they didn't totally nail it all the time, they did try to talk about like topical issues and social issues and stuff like that. This new version seems to be trying that as well. So it's an okay reboot, I gotta say. Yeah, it doesn't really totally capture what I felt made the original like so special to me. Maybe that's due to me growing up. I don't know. But either way, not a bad reboot. It's okay. Speaking of reboots, at number 45, we have the show Reboot. This is on Hulu. The premise of this one is kind of interesting. It's about a sitcom from I think it started in the 90s, ending like the 2000s, being rebooted in modern times. So it's about the process of them being rebooted from the perspective of like the new showrunner and like writers, like clashing with like the old writers, as well as like the cast coming back. It has like Keegan Michael Key, it has Johnny Knoxville, Rachel Bloom, Judy Greer, Paul Reiser. It has like a good cast. So I don't know. I like the premise of the show. It's kind of funny. At number 44, we have the Book of Boba Fett. This was a kind of a spin-off, I guess you could say, of The Mandalorian. This is on Disney Plus, focusing on Boba Fett, the classic Star Wars character. This show, I gotta say, I don't know, I don't like it as much as The Mandalorian, but I don't know, it was okay, I gotta say. Funny thing is, like, the Boba Fett himself was kind of like one of the lesser interesting parts of the show, which isn't like, I'm not like knocking points of it off of it for that. Minor spoilers here, I guess. There's like an episode that focuses on like the Mandalorian, Din Djarin from like the show Mandalorian, where he's like the main focus of the episode, and that was like the most interesting episode of the series. But like I said, I'm not gonna knock points off that show because an interesting episode is just an interesting episode, So it had some good episodes, I gotta say, but I don't know. The way the show is kind of presented, like some of the storylines with like flashbacks and all that, could have, I don't know, the balance could have been a little bit better, I feel like. And some of the action was cool, some of it was not as cool, but I don't know. But it did have a cool cameo from Thundercat, so I gotta give it points for that. Number 43, we have LOL, Last One Laughing, Canada. Last One Laughing is like based on like a Japanese show, I'm pretty sure. It's like a competition where they have comedians in a room and they're there for hours and hours and they're trying to make each other laugh. The last one laughing wins money. I've seen the Australian version of this and now they have the Canadian version. They have a ton of these on Amazon Prime, like from different countries. I'm pretty sure that they have Mexico. I think they have like Germany and like maybe France and like other countries and stuff too. So I've only seen Australia. Now, last year they had the Canada one, which was hosted by Jay Baruchel. Had some of the Canadian comedians I'm familiar with, like Colin Mockery, Tom Green, Caroline Ray, K. Trevor Wilson, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. If people that know me know, I just kind of have like a fascination with like Canada and Canadian culture and Canadian shows. So I don't know. I enjoyed watching this one. The comedians were pretty funny, I gotta say. Like I said, I like the premise of the show. This is the second version I've seen before. I probably would watch more. At number 42, we have Claim to Fame. This one I actually saw with my mom. The premise of this, it's like a reality competition. It was on ABC, hosted by Kevin and what's their brother's name again? Frankie. Kevin and Frankie Jonas. The premise is there's a group of people living in a house and all of them are related to a celebrity in some way, but who their celebrity relative is like a secret, and they give clues and all that, and the people in the house has to do challenges and they get hints and all that, and they need to try to guess the different celebrity relatives. I like these type of games, of like getting hints and all that, trying to guess. Like I was like playing along. Some of the celebrities I like knew. I'm like, oh, I recognize that person, or based on the clues, I like figured it out. I won't spoil it here, but I don't know. It's like a fun watch, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a season 2. So I'm curious to see what other celebrity relatives will be there. But yeah, it was like a fun reality competition show. 41, we have Pretty Hard Cases. This is a Canadian show as well. This is the second season of that show. It's like a cop show, which honestly, it's not like my favorite genre really of TV shows. But I saw the first season at least because Tara Strong was like the villain of that season. And I mean, I like Tara Strong as much as the next guy, It's like a buddy cop type thing. Focuses on these two detectives working on a case. Like it's like an overarching case throughout the season. But I do got to say the overarching case in season 2 is definitely more interesting than the one in season 1. Kind of a standard cop procedural type thing. It is like more of a comedy as well, so I don't know. It's kind of funny. The cases are pretty interesting, I guess. Like I said, it doesn't make me want to go and watch like other of these type of shows, but I don't know. It's good for what it is, I gotta say. And like the two leads do have like some sort of chemistry, which I enjoy. Yeah, a lot of it hinges on like their friendship and all that. So yeah, check it out if you're interested in that sort of thing. And number 40, we have Weekend Family. This is a French show on Disney Plus. I did watch the English dub, just so you know. I don't know. A lot of times I watch the English dub of things. Not always, but a lot of times I do. This one I saw the English dub. It's like a French show, like I said, about like this father and his like 3 daughters. They all have different mothers. And then he has like a new girlfriend from Canada who's like moving into the house and all that. It's about like the dynamics between the family and all that. Like each episode takes place over like a different weekend, like different things that go on during the weekend. It's a pretty fun family type comedy, The dynamics between like the different cast members is cool and all that. At number 39, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is the second Star Wars series on this list. Will it be the last? Who knows? But yeah, this was like a limited series based on Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor reprising the role from like the prequel series. Yeah, it was an okay show. Ewan McGregor did a pretty good job, I gotta say. It introduced like some new like characters that are interesting and all that, and like the idea of like the path which they show, like the path that like helped Jedi's escape and all that, and helped them like bring them like to like new locations and all that. That was like an interesting thing added to the Star Wars mythos, I would say. Why it's not higher on the list, it's the story itself was just okay, I gotta say. The acting was good overall in the show, but I don't know, the story left a little bit to be desired. I feel like for people that are like a bigger fan of the prequels, I'll be honest, I'm not really that big of a fan of those movies. I thought they were kind of boring, to be honest. This is similar, like more in line with like the prequels, I would say. Not that the show was boring, because honestly, it wasn't boring. Just, I don't know, it just felt that way. Maybe because Ewan McGregor was the one playing Obi-Wan. I don't know. That was just the vibe I got from it. Also, there are like flashbacks, and Hayden Christensen does come back in the show as well. So yeah, but there were some cool action moments, I gotta say. Like Darth Vader was pretty cool in this series. So, and I did enjoy. I don't know, if you haven't seen the show, I don't want to spoil too much, but a younger version of a character. At first, I thought it was pretty interesting. Then, I don't know, just like got less interesting as it went on. But I did enjoy that character at first a lot. So yeah. Number 38, we have Killing It. This is a show on Peacock. Craig Robinson, Claudia O'Doherty. Takes place in Florida, which is where I'm from. Premise is kind of interesting. Like about a guy who like wants money to start his own business and all that. And one thing he found out about was this competition where you kill snakes, and like whoever turns in the biggest snake gets a lot of money and all that. So it's about him teaming up with Claudia O'Doherty's character, who's like she's like a rideshare driver. But I gotta say, Claudia O'Doherty, if you don't know her, Australian comedic actress. I first saw her in the show Love on Netflix, and just like that show, she kind of steals the show for me here. She's really funny and just really endearing, her character. So yeah, like just for her alone, like the show's kind of worth it to watch. Uh, the story itself is just okay, honestly. It could have been a lot more interesting based on the premise and all that. But like I said, the performances are there. Craig Robinson does an okay job, but like I said, Claudia Doherty just steals the show here. And there is an episode that's like mostly focused on her character, which is one of my favorite episodes of the series. So yeah, and I'm excited that it's going to come back for season 2. So the show definitely has potential to be better. So I'm excited to see more from it. Number 37, we have Smiling Friends. This is the Adult Swim series, a cartoon. Yeah, if you kind of grew up watching like Newgrounds Flash cartoons and stuff like that, this is definitely the vein of that. In fact, it was created by two internet animators, you know. So, and I do definitely recognize their work from Newgrounds and things like that. Yeah, like the premise of the show is pretty good, I gotta say. It's about the Smiling Friends. Their jobs are to go cheer up different people that need help. Some of it is pretty funny, like I gotta say, but some of the humor is just sometimes it's a little bit just too random or shock humor, which does work sometimes in the show. Like it'll catch you off guard and it'll be hilarious, but other times it doesn't work as well for me, and just some of it's just gross and weird without being funny. But some of it is gross and weird and it is funny. So you'll definitely, I don't know, if you're really into that type of humor, I think you'll love the show. I did enjoy the show, just not as much as some of the other shows on my list here. At number 36, we have Murderville. This is an adaptation of pretty sure it's a British show. I haven't seen the original, but this version's on Netflix. It's kind of like an improv experiment here. There's like a different murder that they have to solve. Will Arnett's like the detective, and each celebrity guest stars like their new partner. So yeah, they had like Conan O'Brien, Kumail Nanjiani on there, Sharon Stone, like a good mix of like Ken Jeong, stuff like that. Marshawn Lynch, even Annie Murphy. I think that's all. And basically, the other actors in there are like improving, and the celebrities don't have like any script or know what's going on, so they kind of just have to play along and all that. And Will Arnett kind of prompts them to do different things that are kind of like improv exercises in a way. So interesting premise for a show, and it's pretty funny. Has potential to be even funnier, I gotta say though. But like the foundation's totally there. At number 35, we have Saturday Night Live. I mean, this is a show that I don't know. I've been watching Saturday Night Live consistently for like over 12 years, I gotta say now. Probably since like 2010. I think the episode that Betty White hosted like got me really into the show. Like I said, I watch it consistently, and the people that say that, oh, it's not funny anymore, that's not true. It's just that like Saturday Night Live has always kind of been hit or miss in my opinion. Like even like the seasons that people say are like the best years, people mostly just remember the best sketches. You know what I mean? But the reason this isn't higher is, like I said, it is kind of hit or miss. I don't think there's any episode really, or not many episodes, I gotta say, where there's not at least one okay to bad sketch, you know? That's just the way it is. But the performers are still good. Last year, a lot of people left the show. But some of the ones that are here, like some of the newer like featured players are really funny. Like I'm a big fan of Sarah Sherman. James Austin Johnson is also great. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward for the show to continue. They've had some interesting hosts this season and like last season as well. So yeah, the show's still good, I gotta say. Just a little bit too hit or miss for me to rank this that much higher than where it is, honestly. But I still do love Saturday Night Live, and I probably always will, to be honest. At number 34, we have Moon Knight. This is the first Marvel show on the list here. On Disney Plus, starring Oscar Isaac. I do enjoy that, again, minor spoilers here, that instead of it being like the typical origin story, it kind of like picks up like past that, and you're kind of figuring out what's going on at the same time as the main character, which is cool. Oscar Isaac's given like a kind of like a dual performance, I gotta say here. This does deal with like dissociative identity and stuff like that. Like I honestly don't know much about it. Dissociative identity disorder or anything like that. So I don't know how respectfully they really covered it here. Can't really speak on that. Just like based on the quality of the show, I gotta say, I don't know. It's a little bit of a mixed bag here. The acting, like overall, like from all the main cast, I thought was pretty good. But some of the parts that like a little bit lacking is like some of the action is just okay, and like some of like the visual effects are just okay. They do have some cool set pieces in terms of like visual effects and action and stuff throughout the show, and do have a clever use of like cutting away from action, which I actually enjoyed a lot. Some of like the story and the writing had a lot of potential, but just didn't fully hit the mark. But overall, an entertaining show, beginning to end. It's only like 6 episodes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so not a long watch. Overall, an enjoyable show. So yeah. Also, like the way that they like ingrained like Egyptology and stuff like that into like the mythology of like the superhero world and all that was cool too. So yeah, I'm excited to see more of like Moon Knight as a character, and Layla as well. I thought she was a good new character as well. Like going forward in the MCU, hopefully they show up somewhere. At number 33, we have The Boys Presents Diabolical. This is the animated anthology, like sort of spin-off of The Boys on Amazon Prime. If you don't know The Boys, it's like, I don't know, you should definitely watch that show. It's a superhero comedy drama, like kind of a more gritty, I guess, like for lack of a better term, take on like superhero media and all that. But The Boys Presents Diabolical is like a animated anthology. Each episode has like a different creative team behind it with different animation styles. There's like a Looney Tunes inspired one. There's a Justin Roiland does one, so it's like his animation style that you'll find in like Rick and Morty and Solar Opposites. There's like anime inspired ones. It's a lot of different types. But as comes along with like a lot of different anthologies, like the quality of episodes do vary, I gotta say. There's some beautiful, poignant episodes, like the one that Andy Samberg wrote about like a husband and wife. They do find their own ways to be integrated into the world of The Boys. There's an episode that kind of takes place seemingly in like the comics continuity. From my understanding, like the comics and like the show The Boys have like a lot of differences. So it's interesting seeing like a comics version of the universe. But yeah, like some of the episodes weren't all that great. Like honestly, the Justin Roiland one I didn't think was all that great. Had some funny moments and all that, but still, like I said, it definitely varies. That's the nature of like an anthology. But overall, I definitely think it's worth it, especially if you're already a fan of The Boys. And if you're not, you can watch this. It doesn't spoil anything in the show or anything like that, really. It's kind of like a separate thing. Like most episodes don't even focus on the same characters that you find in The Boys, so yeah, catch this if you're interested in like superhero stuff at all. So yeah. Number 32, we have Lego Masters, another reality competition here. I love Lego Masters, I gotta say. This is the US version, to be specific, hosted by Will Arnett. This is an entertaining show to watch. I know people were kind of complaining about this specific season. This is season 3 of Lego Masters US. Like some of the challenges they didn't like and all that, or people had issues with like the winner. I won't spoil who that is in case you want to watch it. I didn't have an issue with that stuff, honestly. Like I thought like the challenges, some of them were pretty interesting. I do agree, like a couple of the challenges, like the Jurassic World one left a little bit to be desired, but they had some fun ideas, and I overall enjoyed like the teams and all that. At number 31, we have F-Boy Island. Sadly was canceled recently. Oh man, I do enjoy the show. A reality dating show, which a genre like I really don't ever watch, really. This is like the only one I've really seen, honestly. Like a dating competition, at least. But the basic premise of this was the second season that aired last year. is there's 3 girls and I forgot how many guys, all on an island together. The guys, some of them are F boys, some of them are nice guys. And yeah, the girls are just like going on dates with them and like kind of like voting them off as it goes on. And then at one point they have to, it's like revealed who's the F boy and who's a nice guy. And the deal is that the F boys can take, like if they, when the girls at the end, when they choose who they want to be with, if they choose an F boy, the F boy can either choose to take the money for themselves or split it or do whatever they want with the money. They have full control of the money. While nice guys automatically split the money with the girl that chooses them. So it's kind of like you're taking a risk if you're choosing the F boy and all that. Pretty interesting show. Nikki Glazer's the host. I think she's hilarious and she's a good host of the show. And the editing of the show is hilarious. It's just a really entertaining kind of like, in my mind, just like a different take on a dating reality show. So I really did enjoy that show. It's too bad that it got canceled by HBO Max. Hopefully it gets picked up by another network or service or whatever. Because, yeah, the show definitely has potential. And they always do like different twists and turns each season so far. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure the show could evolve to something else as well. And number 30, we have Minx. Speaking of HBO Max, this is one of the shows that are just being erased from HBO Max. That's like a whole nother topic, but that annoys me. Zaslav. The new CEO of Warner Discovery. Man, that just frustrates me. But yeah, pretty sure the show's gone already, so if you wanted to watch it on HBO Max, it's pretty much been erased, which is too bad, because it was a good show. Yeah, and season 2 was almost completely filmed already, I think. Or they're deep into production already, and that's just gone now. Either way, like the premise of this show takes place in the 70s. It's about an author who wants to like have her own magazine, like about women's issues and all that. She couldn't find like a publisher, so she goes with Jake Johnson's character, who's like, he publishes like different porn magazines. So basically, her magazine Minx gets turned into like a porn magazine like aimed at women. Interesting premise for a show. It's pretty good, I gotta say. Sucks that it won't be continued and the show's just being like, I don't know, like just gone. The show's gone, but it's too bad because it was funny and it did touch on like some interesting social issues and all that. Yeah, it's too bad, honestly. At number 29, we have Miss Marvel, another of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. Man, this show started off pretty good, I gotta say. Like, Aman Vellani she's a treasure. Like, I'm very sure this is her first, like, acting role. She plays Kamala Khan here. She does a really good job. It's, like, the strengths of this show is, like, her and her family and her community and all that. The way that they have great chemistry together. They're really funny. They have great heart. All that stuff is great about the show, like really great. Where it kind of falls apart a little bit is the antagonists of the show. Like they're just a little bit underbaked, kind of. In the story, just, I don't know, like when it focuses on like her community and all that, everything's good. Even when they kind of touch on like her family history and all that stuff, that's cool too. It's just, I don't know, the stuff with the villains and all that just, I don't know, just wasn't totally developed fully. Like it had potential, but it just really missed the mark there, I gotta say. But overall, pretty good and entertaining show. Just, man, it really could have been a lot better, I feel like. But I'm really excited to see more of the character of Kamala Khan. She's going to be in the Marvel show. Hopefully, I really want to see more of her community and her family and all that. So hopefully they're in that movie, or hopefully they do season 2 of Miss Marvel, because definitely would be interested in that. At number 28, we have Abbott Elementary. This was like a surprise hit, like sitcom on ABC. It premiered early 2022. It was like a mid-season show, and then the first half of season 2 premiered this fall season. Yeah, solid show, I gotta say. Quinta Brunson created the show. She stars in it. Great cast, I gotta say. Season 1 I thought was funny, don't get me wrong, but season 2 so far it's been a step up, I gotta say. Really, like, just a funny show. It is one of those mockumentary style shows, which seem to be like a trend starting really popularized with like The Office, like Parks and Recreation data, Modern Family. This does it now. But yeah, at least I gotta say, this show does acknowledge it more. Where, like, for example, Modern Family didn't really acknowledge it at all. But yeah, so that's cool, and the cast works really well together. Just a solid show. Don't really have too many negatives or anything. But I do gotta say, Zach Fox, whenever he guest stars in the show, he's so funny. Like, okay, I'm not gonna give away too much, but when he did like the assembly in season 1, that was like the hardest I laughed during the show. That was so funny. But yeah, it has good commentary in the show. Everyone's great in it. It's just hilarious. At number 27, we have Tuca and Birdie, another recently canceled show. Season 3 aired last year on Adult Swim. This is the second season that was aired on Adult Swim after it first aired on Netflix and it got canceled and got picked up by Adult Swim. It's been canceled once again, but yeah, Lisa Hannawalt did the show. She was also worked on BoJack Horseman, which is one of my personal favorite shows of all time. This is another great show, I gotta say. Man, the voice acting and like the comedy is all there. They touch on a lot of like interesting topics as well in the show, dealing with things like relationship, like health, a lot of things like that. A lot of topics that rarely get seen talked about on like any show, and it's talked about a show that's kind of like a goofy show about like two bird friends, Tuca and Birdie, you know. So man, this was a pretty special show, I gotta say. And the comedy was wacky, it was zany, but also touched on like real topics at the same time. Man, it's too bad. And I did enjoy the performances from Tiffany Haddish and Ali Wong and Stephen Yeun and Nicole Byer especially. She voices a lot of bit characters throughout the show, but she's always funny in the show. But man, this show actually was a treasure. It's too bad it got canceled yet again. At number 26, we have Big Shot on Disney Plus. Okay, the reason I'm kind of laughing is, okay, I don't think this show's great, but for some reason, I just love this show. That's why I ranked so high here, I gotta say. Quality-wise, it's like just based on what the quality of the show would have been lower. I just love this show for some reason. This is season 2, starring John Stamos. It's about him. He plays Marvin Korn. He was a college basketball coach who got fired for like an outburst he had, and he gets a job coaching a high school team at an all-girls private school. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the premise itself is a kind of a standard story, you gotta say, but for some reason, I just love this show. I can't really explain why I love it, but it's just my exact type of show for some reason. Yeah, like I enjoyed like the performances, all the characters, like the girls on the team are good. Like the principal is played by Yvette Nicole Brown. I love her performance and all that. So like the kind of the teen drama mixed with like the comedy and all that. I don't know. It's just my type of show. All right, halfway through the list here, number 25, we have Harley Quinn season 3. Harley Quinn is a great show. If you don't know it, it's on HBO Max now. Animated comedy. Kaylee Cuoco as Harley Quinn. A really stellar voice cast. We got Lake Bell, Diedrich Bader as Batman, a bunch of cool. Alan Tudyk as Joker. Just a really, really good. A really, really good like take on I don't know, like the DC world and like Gotham and all that. The Batman mythos, I would say. Interesting takes on the characters. It has solid comedy, and it is about kind of like Harley Quinn kind of reclaiming her identity and all that. That's like a lot about like season 1 was about. But yeah, season 3, more about her relationship with Poison Ivy and all that. Season 3 had some really interesting developments. I won't spoil it if you haven't watched it yet, but interesting developments with Batman and Joker, especially. I still think personally season 2 was probably the peak so far of Harley Quinn, but season 3 was definitely a solid season. But yeah, still loving the show, and yeah, I'm glad that it got renewed for season 4, and hopefully the spin-off show is still happening, like focus on Kite Man at the Noonan's bar. So hopefully that's still happening because I love the world of that Harley Quinn has created. So yeah, I'll watch it for as long as they keep making it. 24, we have She-Hulk Attorney at Law, which is the third and final of the Disney Plus Marvel shows that came out last year. Yeah, I really enjoyed the show. This is actually the first show that I filmed reactions for. So if you haven't seen that, check that out on my YouTube channel here. So yeah, it was fun reacting to it and editing it and all that. Yeah, solid show, I gotta say. This was a more comedic, probably the most comedic of any of the Disney Plus shows, focused the most on comedy. Tatiana Maslany was really great in here. A lot of the performances are really great, but her especially, she's great at playing Jennifer Walters and playing She-Hulk. Sort of the elephant in the room of that show was the visual effects and all that. I thought they were okay, honestly. Even if they weren't okay, I could pretty easily just look past that, honestly. Effects, unless they're really bad, honestly don't take me out of it too much, to be honest. And I didn't expect She-Hulk to look realistic or anything because it's not really a realistic thing, But I guess that's part of the uncanny valley. It kind of looks like a person, but at the same time, Hulk people just aren't humans, looking at least. But I did kind of the more irreverent take they had on the Marvel Cinematic Universe and superheroes in general. Kind of some of the weirder Marvel characters got to pop up here. I don't know. I kind of wish it focused a little bit more on the legal side of it. It's called She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Don't get me wrong, it is a through line, but I don't know. If the legal cases were a little bit stronger in some of the episodes, this would probably be rated a little bit higher. But I did enjoy the comedy. I did enjoy the fourth wall breaking stuff, especially by the end of it. They kind of took some bold choices there, and I enjoyed it all. And I'm sure most of you already know, but if you don't know, a certain guest star pops up towards the end of the show, and he's really, really great in it. And the dynamic between him and She-Hulk is just excellent. So really enjoyed the show. Can't wait to see the character more and all that. And yeah. Oh, and not just Jennifer Walters, but Nikki Ramos is one of the best friend type characters they've made in the MCU, honestly. Ginger Gonzaga does a great job with her as well. So this is another character I really want to see going forward in the MCU. At number 23, we have The Sex Lives of College Girls. This was season 2 on HBO Max. I love this show as well. Enjoyed it a lot more than I expected it to. Season 1, which I saw earlier this year, towards the beginning of the year. Yeah, it's a really, really solid show. About 4 freshmen in a prestigious university. They live together in a dorm and all that. A standout for me in this show is Pauline Chalamet as Kimberly. That character just, I don't know, she just cracks me up almost every episode, I gotta say. I don't know why, but she's really, really good in the role. All 4 of the main girls are really good too, I gotta say. It's just Pauline Chalamet, for whatever reason, she always just gets me. I do gotta say, for this season, specifically season 2, Whitney's storyline, I did like the academic side of it, but the romantic side of it, if people that saw it, you know what I mean, just was her new love interest isn't super interesting, I gotta say. No offense to the actor, because I do think the actor's okay, but I did enjoy Leighton's storyline a lot too as well. But yeah, other than that, the show continues to be good, I gotta say. Yeah, I think it got renewed for season 3, which is good, because the way they left it off, they kind of, I don't know, I'm really excited to see what happens personally with some of the storylines. So yeah, continues to be a really entertaining show. At number 22, we have Only Murders in the Building from Hulu. This is starring Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. Season one I really liked. Yeah, it's like a murder mystery type thing. Like not really a true crime type person, but the way they play with like true crime like fans and like the genre of like true crime like podcasts and stuff like that, it continues to be really good. The mystery in season two was pretty good. Like I love the mystery in season one. Season two also had a really good one as well. Don't really have anything negative really to say. The performances continue to be really good from the main cast. Like Steve Martin especially, like he brings his A game here. Yeah, just watch it if you're into like mystery and like murder and stuff like that. This is the show for you. At number 21, we have As We See It. This is on Amazon Prime. Sadly, it got canceled. I really did enjoy the show though. This is about three adults with autism living in, I think, in Los Angeles. Just like their different struggles and things like that they have, and like the caretaker played by Sosie Bacon. This is a American adaptation of a show from Israel on the spectrum, which I've seen before as well. And yeah, I gotta say, this does have some improvements over the original Israeli version. Like, for one, they actually have actors with autism playing autistic characters, which honestly isn't all that common, like I noticed. So it's nice that they did that for As We See It. Did enjoy the storylines here. I'm glad there's a storyline in like the Israeli one on the spectrum, like about like one of the characters that like was stalking somebody, which was honestly I'm not mad that they didn't do that in the new version. It's a good adaptation here. Like they kind of give like more depth to some of the characters, which was needed, to like different storylines and all that. Really, really solid show, I gotta say. It's too bad that Amazon canceled it though. Really, I don't know. It could have gone on. I really feel like it could have. The performances from all the main cast were really good, and they kind of expanded like more into the personal lives of the characters than they did in the original show, which was really cool. Like their families and all that. At number 20, we have Three Busy Debras. This is an Adult Swim show. Sadly, got canceled too. Man, a lot of my shows got canceled, which is too bad. This show was just absurdist humor and all that. And honestly, I know like this was like a reception of the show is a little bit divisive. It seems like from what I read online, but I loved it, to be honest. It's again just probably my humor, I guess. Just the absurdist nature and like kind of the satirical nature of like the characters, the way they act, and the commentary they're kind of giving is just really funny to me. There are times where honestly it's more weird than it is funny, but I can't say I was ever boring, and it was always really intriguing and interesting. Man, I really like that sort of I don't know what that aesthetic is called, but it reminded me like if you ever seen the movie Greener Grass, kind of like a suburban kind of utopia mixed with like absurdist comedy and all that. It was just a weird show, but really good. The acting and directing and writing was just really funny. It was really there for me. And from what I understand, like it's even toned down from what happened in like the original stage productions of Three Busy Debras, which I haven't seen, but I did love the show. Sad to see it go, but man, it was a wild ride though, I gotta say. At number 19, we have another Adult Swim show. We have Rick and Morty. This was season 6 of Rick and Morty, airing in 2022. Yeah, continue to really enjoy the show. I've enjoyed it from the beginning. It's a great show. There aren't any episodes in this that are like I'm looking back and thinking, oh, this is gonna be an all-time classic of the show. But there weren't any bad episodes, I gotta say, at all. Like all of them were pretty solid. I know some people had issues with like season 5 where they didn't like some like the plot lines and stuff like that, but I thought season 6 was definitely solid all the way through. Wasn't like remarkable and nothing terrible. It had some really fun ideas, especially like there's like a creative limitation that was placed on them, like at the end of last season, that they kind of stuck with partially, at least through this season. And even when that was resolved, that they had like really creative concepts, which Rick and Morty always does. Continues to be a fun show. Yeah, like I like some of the criticisms that exist in Rick and Morty still exist in this season specifically. Like sometimes they like to over explain like a joke sometimes, and I don't know. It's not too bad honestly, but just like minor gripes, stuff like that I have still with the show. But yeah, kind of like the rambling nature of like some of the characters, like especially when like in the obvious improv moments. But that's like a trademark of the show. I wouldn't want them to drop that or anything like that. But yeah, still a good show, I gotta say. Still has a lot of creative ideas that they're putting out there. So yeah, excited to see more of it. At number 18, we have Girls 5 Eva, an underrated show for sure. Season 2 aired last year. It was canceled by Peacock, but the saving grace is that Netflix picked up the show for season 3, and the original 2 seasons are going to be on Netflix as well, which I'm glad, because the show deserves better than Peacock. Peacock as a service is honestly not good, but it has a few good shows on there, I gotta say. Just as a platform and like the UI and some of the features, I can go on about like improvements Peacock needs to make, but whatever. Netflix saved the show, and I really think this is a show that can like really benefit from being on Netflix. Similar style of humor to like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and things like that, and like 30 Rock. It's about like a girl group from the 90s. They're like comeback and all that. Great cast, great music. Just a little bit of that absurdist humor. Like not too much, but you know, kind of like what you'd see like Kimmy Schmidt and all that if you saw that show as well, which I enjoyed as well. But yeah, Sarah Bareilles, Renee Elise Goldsberry, Busy Phillips, Paula Pell, they're just excellent in the show. Their comedy is great, their singing is great. Just overall a really good show, I gotta say. And I'm really hoping that it kind of takes off once it's on Netflix and season 3 comes out. Kind of like a Cobra Kai situation. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. At number 17, we have Somebody Somewhere. This was on HBO. Yeah, an underappreciated show. I didn't see many people talking about it, but I thought it was really good. Starring Bridget Everett. Takes place in a small town in Kansas. Bridget Everett, her character, like her sister passes away, and like her kind of being more involved in like the town and all that, and just a really solid. I like this type of whatever this genre is of like small town America and like comedy drama, you know. Kind of reminds me of One Mississippi, which was a underappreciated show on Amazon starring Tig Notaro, but this one really great. Bridget Everett. I hadn't seen too much of her acting. I obviously I know she's a singer and I know she's a comedian. I have seen her and stuff, but this is the first thing that I saw her starring in. I thought she was excellent in the show. Like, she was really good in the drama and the comedy, and this show does involve singing as well. She's a great singer. I really do think so. Jeff Hiller, which is like an actor like I've seen like in bits and pieces in like a few different things. He's like really great in this show as like a coworker of hers and becomes a friend. Extremely like touching show, I gotta say. And man, R.I.P. Mike Hagerty. He played like the father in the show. Yeah, I do know that there's gonna be season 2, which is great. Hopefully more people watch it. Kind of flew under the radar type show, and it's really great, I gotta say. At number 16, we have Close Enough. Another casualty from HBO Max just been erased. Season 3 aired last year. This is from J.G. Quintel, the creator of Regular Show. Similar style humor if you enjoyed Regular Show. Yeah, the show is just really creative. And just hilarious. I watched a lot of this one with my little brother. I don't know. It's Just a good time, I gotta say. The characters are all really fun. The situations are, it's kind of like a more adult version of regular show if you haven't seen the show already. But again, there's nowhere to watch the show on legally, at least. Wink, wink. Yeah, it's been erased from HBO Max, which really annoys me, I gotta say. But man, it was a great show. But other than J.G. Quintel, who, again, he voices the main character here, like Jason Mantzoukas is great, Kimiko Glenn. Just the whole cast is really good. The situation they always find themselves in is like, who knows how they come up with some of these storylines, but I don't know. It's always entertaining, honestly. Number 15, we have Loot. This is on Apple TV Plus, starring Maya Rudolph. This was kind of a pleasant surprise for me, I gotta say. Like, I decided to just play it, check out what it was about, and honestly, I was hooked. Like, the basic premise on this one is Maya Rudolph, she plays a character who's recently divorced from, like, her billionaire husband. And so, like, in the divorce, she keeps, like, a lot of the money. And she decides to visit her foundation that's been in her name. And kind of decides to go there day to day. And, like, help out the people that work at her foundation and actually try to make a change and all that. Really, like, another touching show. Really funny show. Like, Ron Funches, Joel Kim Booster, especially, are really, like, funny in the show, I gotta say. But, yeah, the whole cast is great. Michaela J. Rodriguez, Nat Faxon. Yeah, just a really, really solid, funny show. Interesting message here, I gotta say. Like, of like a billionaire trying to, I don't know, do some good in the world, I guess. Maybe a little bit idealistic at times, but hey, still an entertaining show. At number 14, we have Players. This was another genius show. This was on Paramount Plus. From the creators of American Vandal, which was sadly cut short a few years ago by Netflix. One of my favorite Netflix shows for sure. Another mockumentary style. This one about a League of Legends team. Like, for me personally, I didn't know much at all about League of Legends. I don't know too much about esports, but the show gives you the information you need mostly. Like, for like someone that from the outside, and it's still a really interesting story they're portraying here, and the acting is just like American Vandal. It seems so real. Like, these characters, like, even though it's fake, you kind of believe him, you know? You believe that, oh, that's a real person right there. Cream Cheese, oh my God, that's one of the best characters of the year, honestly. Just like the arrogance and just earnestness of like the characters it just feels so real to me. And the story they portrayed it's funny, it's interesting, you're invested in it, even though it's like a fake esports team and all that. You're kind of invested in like the tournaments and all that stuff. And like I said, I don't really know much about League of Legends. But you don't get really lost at all. They explain what you need, honestly. And there's other stuff if you really want to know. Like, there's a couple things that I'm like, okay, I want to Google exactly what this means. It's not important really to the story, just curious, you know. So like I said, you don't really need to know about esports or League of Legends or anything to really enjoy the show. I sure did. So definitely like a show that flew under the radar. At number 13, we have Life and Beth. This is on Hulu, created by Amy Schumer. And before you go saying anything, for whatever reason, a lot of people like overly hate on Amy Schumer. I mean, I think she's okay, you know. Like, she's kind of a hit or miss for me, but I don't hate her at all, really, honestly, at all. But yeah, this is the most impressive I've ever been with her, I gotta say, in this show. She created the show. She stars in it. She directed and wrote some of the episodes. Just similar to Somebody Somewhere. This is like another show that like mixes a really good mix of comedy and drama and just really touching, I gotta say. They do a lot of flashing back and doing like parallels between what's happening in Beth, the main character's life, like in present day, and also relating it back to moments in her childhood. And it was really effective for me. Like, I thought the actress that plays the younger Beth, Violet Young, she did a great job. And like some of like the flashbacks were the most interesting parts of the show, I gotta say. There's the whole episode that a lot of it was like the childhood, showing her childhood, and thought it was really interesting. Michael Cera's in it as well, and I'll watch anything with Michael Cera. I just love that guy, honestly. Arrested Development, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, probably my favorite movie, honestly. But anyways, he's good in the show as well. Overall, really, really solid show. I really enjoyed it more as it went along. The first few episodes are good, but I don't know, it really like picks up, and it like, I don't know, it becomes a great show, honestly. Starts off good, ends off great. And I do know like some of it's like partially inspired by her real life, so maybe that's part of, I don't know why that she was able to tap into like the story and all that, and it was really, I don't know, really created like an emotional, funny story. At number 12, we have Hacks. This is on HBO Max. Season 2 came out last year. Jean Smart plays Deborah Vance. She's a comedian who, I don't know, in season 1 she had like a residency in Las Vegas. But by the end of that season, that kind of changes, and season 2 is more of her going out on the road, like testing out new material and all that. Really, yeah, they really switched up this season. They created like a new dynamic between her and Ava, played by Hannah Einbinder, who's also great. They're both like work off each other so well. Jean Smart is just a masterclass in acting, I gotta say. Like, the comedy is great. Like, both the way she performs the comedy, like her character performs the comedy on stage, and the way that Jean Smart delivers it, kind of seems like she's like giving like a monologue in a way. Like, it kind of seems like a dramatic monologue, even though it's like through stand-up comedy. It just works so well. And like her, like her real persona, like off the stage, the way she can just, I don't know, the way Jean Smart just plays both of those sides of the character is just really, really good. The show's just hilarious as well. At number 11, we have Peacemaker. This came out like at the beginning of 2022. This is kind of the spin-off of The Suicide Squad by James Gunn. John Cena's character Peacemaker in that movie got his own show here on HBO Max, and yeah, I gotta say, it was great, honestly. Definitely the most impressive John Cena performance I've seen. He nails the comedy and like some of the moments of drama and intenseness that was needed for like the series. He did a great job there as well. The show was written completely by James Gunn. He directed most of the episodes. The directing and writing was on par for what you expect for James Gunn. So if you like that style of humor, like if you enjoyed The Suicide Squad, I definitely think you should check out Peacemaker. Like the second Suicide Squad movie. Okay, specifically not the first one, because honestly, the world that they kind of created, like with some of the characters and just it was able to do like outlandish things that are like just completely unexpected and would like blow your mind, while also just having like an interesting emotional like through line throughout the show of like Peacemaker's relationship with his father, played by Robert Patrick, and like how his upbringing kind of shaped him to be the person he is. And just, I don't know, going like trying to deal with some of the trauma that you kind of inherit, you know, from your parents and your upbringing and all that, and how that affects you as an adult. It was really interesting, like reframing of like a character that you're meant to hate in the Suicide Squad movie. Kind of just reframing, I don't know how you feel about him, and I thought they did a good job of that, honestly. Had some great action and just a great superhero type show as well. The whole cast of characters was really fun, and just I especially enjoyed the performance of Danielle Brooks as Leota. She was really good in the show too, like a new character for the show. But yeah, like I said, excited to see more. I know they're going to do season 2. And now that James Gunn is running DC Studios, or at least like co-running it with Peter Safran, which I think he also produced this show as well. So yeah, hopefully these characters continue on for a while. All right, we now are reaching the top 10, my top 10 shows of 2022. At number 10, we have Cobra Kai. Man, this is just an entertaining piece of Entertainment. Okay, I said entertaining twice. Whatever. It's just an entertaining show. There's nothing else to it really. But like just like a lot of people, I caught onto the Cobra Kai train like once it was added to Netflix. Like I knew the show, like I knew it was on YouTube Red. Like I've seen the original Karate Kid and the Jaden Smith one. Like I wasn't like super invested in the Karate Kid franchise, but you don't have to be to get into Cobra Kai, honestly. With all the amount of flashbacks and stuff like that they have, you don't even need to watch Karate Kid to understand Cobra Kai. But yeah, what season are they on now? Season 5, right? Yeah, they leveled things up, I gotta say. The action and just cool, over the top moments, even. It just really worked for me. The show's intense, it's wild, it's almost a fever dream at points. But damn if it's not an entertaining show. Like, really. And the acting and, like, fighting from a lot of the actors has improved throughout the seasons, I gotta say. Yeah, like I just can't wait to, hopefully there's more of the show. They haven't announced anything. I mean, I imagine. I know they're going to do a new Karate Kid movie, which I don't know if that's connected to Cobra Kai at all, but the way Cobra Kai season 5 ended, they got to do a season 6. 6 seasons in a movie. That's what I'm saying for Cobra Kai. But man, and Thomas Ian Griffith, he is such a great villain playing Terry Silver. Oh my god, he's just such an entertaining villain, I gotta say. And the show's funny too. The show has great comedy, has great action, has serviceable moments of drama, you know? A little bit like melodramatic and stuff like that, but man, if it's not an entertaining soap opera. Oh man, a karate soap opera. It's a great show. It's an entertaining show. At number 9, we have Euphoria from HBO. This was season 2. Just another solid season of Euphoria, I gotta say. The great acting. Zendaya was very good this season, just like she was in season 1. Sydney Sweeney like stepped it up too. I gotta say she was really good. Just I really enjoyed this season. Euphoria continues to be an interesting, like really dark at some points. Like look at the lives of these teenage characters. Like interesting look at like addiction and abuse and things like that. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed like the cinematography a lot this season, and like a lot of the set pieces and the production design, everything like that. I just thought was pretty solid, I gotta say. I know some people think it kind of, I don't know, the show can be like a little bit much and all that, which I could see that. But honestly, I'm here for it. I don't think it like sensationalizes like drug use and things like that. It kind of shows, honestly, like the dark sides and like the downsides of like, especially like the people around you, like with Rue, like how her addiction affects other people and all that. The show can get intense, but still enjoying the show a lot. So, yeah. I also kind of live for like teenage drama and stuff like that. So, those type of moments didn't take me out at all or bother me. I actually enjoyed it, especially the relationship drama, especially between Maddie and Cassie and stuff like that. But yeah, I continue to enjoy the characters and performances, and enjoy like the way the narrative is presented with like kind of dream sequences and flashbacks and narration and stuff like that. I just enjoy the way the show's presented and has great acting. So at number 8, we have The White Lotus season 2. This season taking place in Italy. I really enjoyed season 1 of White Lotus. This is, so far the show's presenting itself to be kind of an anthology, like where each season is taking place in a different White Lotus location. There is a couple actually characters carrying over. Tanya and Doug from season 1, which is Tanya being Jennifer Coolidge's character, her Emmy-winning performance in season 1. She's great again here. I really enjoy the cast. The cast has been great in both seasons, I gotta say. But yeah, I really enjoyed kind of like, I don't know. It seems like the theme of this one is like the dangers of like sex and power and how people use that. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know, one actor that I always enjoy a lot, Aubrey Plaza. She was great in this season. She's always great. I love Aubrey Plaza. I'll watch like pretty much anything with her in it. So it was really cool seeing her in here. Yeah, overall really enjoyed the season. Like it is definitely a show that like after the end of episode you definitely want to see what happens next. It keeps you like on the edge of your seat. It's intense. The interpersonal dynamics between like the different characters and the overlapping between like the different storylines between the different characters is, I don't know, always impressive to me. The directing and writing from Mike White continues to be good, but overall I think the show is a masterclass in like directing and writing and performing, I gotta say. So continue to like the show and excited to see where season 3 takes us, like both location wise and in terms of story and themes and all that, and see if any of the characters like come back again, because that was an interesting way to tie the 2 seasons together, like having like a couple of the characters come back. So I wonder if they'll do that again. At number 7 we have Atlanta. Season 3 and 4 came out last year. Season 3 is interesting that took place mostly outside of Atlanta itself, you know, like taking place throughout like different European cities and all that. I will say it seems like season 3 and like 4 like kind of had more of those standalone type episodes that didn't involve like the main cast members, which I mean I enjoy those type of episodes as well. But I don't know, at some points I was kind of like wanting to just see what was going on with the main cast, but I honestly didn't mind taking a detour every now and then. Had some interesting like social commentary and like situations happening. Kind of that surreal nature that Atlanta is like known for occasionally sprinkling in. So that was really interesting. They bring up for some interesting conversations, I gotta say. Season 4, I thought I enjoyed even more than season 3. It brought things back to Atlanta. There's one episode, people that seen it know what I'm talking about. It's a documentary style episode. One of the best episodes of the series. Genius episode. It's another one of those standalone type episodes. They don't involve like the main cast, but man, the show's funny, has great commentary. The performances are great. Brian Tyree Henry specifically, like in particular, I gotta say, like he kills it as Paperboy. Like his performance is just so good, I gotta say. I mean, all the main cast is great, but like him specifically, like I'm always impressed by him. But yeah, the show ended with season 4. Man, the way it ended, it's not that I was unsatisfied. It's just like, man, I want to see more of the show. You know, there's still a lot more that I feel like we can see with the characters. But hey, I'm not mad at like a show like knowing when, just like I don't know, quitting while they're ahead, I guess, instead of like dragging it out. But selfishly, I want more of the show. But it ended on a high note, I gotta say. Season 3 and 4 were great as well. At number 6, we have Andor, the third and final of the Star Wars shows on this list. I do want to give a little bit of my backstory on my relationship with Star Wars. Like, I don't know, my first like really big introduction to the world of Star Wars at large was Lego Star Wars, honestly. I mean, I did end up watching like all the live action movies, like in preparation for Force Awakens coming out. I had seen a couple of them already, but I went through all of them. I enjoy some of them, honestly. I didn't enjoy really. Other ones I did enjoy. But like none of the Star Wars movies really like I fell in love with. Same with like the sequel trilogy. They're mostly okay. I didn't like Rise of Skywalker that much, honestly, though. But yeah, when like the Star Wars shows, like they started making them on Disney Plus, I enjoyed Mandalorian. You guys already know how I feel about Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But honestly, like when Andor was announced, like Rogue One was okay, I thought. Like it wasn't like clamoring like, oh man, that character needs a spin-off show and all that. But I gotta say, The show was excellent. Oh man, Andor was so good though. Wow. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm not like trying to like overhype it or whatever, but Andor is probably my favorite Star Wars piece of media. I gotta say, like it started off like the first 3 episodes were good. Don't get me wrong. The structure of the show is interesting. It's kind of like broken up into arcs in a way, like usually like 3 to 4 episode arcs. The first like arc or whatever that's like the first 3 episodes was good. Like I was intrigued, but the show got way better after that. Like there's a heist. I won't give specifics in case you want to watch it, but there's a heist that was just jaw dropping to see. Like the visuals and everything was just so good. And then the best storyline. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm just gonna say these 3 words. One way out. That was so hype. Oh man, that was so good. Oh, and there's a guest star in that arc. I won't say who it is, but he killed it, man. He killed it. You'll know when you see him though. The acting of the show, the directing, the cinematography, the music, everything, production design is just on point. Diego Luna, excellent. Stellan Skarsgård, Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. So good, man. This show was awesome, and guaranteed there's gonna be a second season. And I think they said like 2 and done. So they're just gonna do the whole story. Man, they made me really love the character of Cassian Andor, which I didn't really care too much about when I saw him in Rogue One, but I'm invested in a story now, baby. That's all I gotta say. This show was so good. My favorite piece of Star Wars, like I said. But man, I'm ready for season 2 whenever that happens. At number 5, we have Stranger Things season 4. Man, I enjoyed season 1 through 3 of Stranger Things. Don't get me wrong, but season 4 easily was my favorite season. Like the way that it was kind of interesting. It was split into like 2 parts, like episodes 1 through 7, and then 8 and 9, and the episodes were like different lengths. Like each episode was over an hour long, so like a lot of them kind of felt like their own like little movie in a way, and just them being able to kind of like let things breathe and all that, and focus on like a lot about like the character setting them up and all that. I don't know, really helped this season, and like the acting was on point for all the characters. Sadie Sink, everyone's been singing her praises, and she was excellent this season. Millie Bobby Brown has always been great. But the villain of this season, they're able to kind of like focus more on like, I don't know, like it's more of a mental game. Obviously taking inspiration from like Freddy Krueger and all that from Nightmare on Elm Street. They even call that out in like the show itself. But that villain was really interesting. Like tackling like people's trauma and all that and how that manifests. It was like really interesting. The production design, the visual effects, the directing, cinematography, like all of it has just been leveled up, I feel like, for season 4. And it makes me really excited for what I think is the final season, season 5, coming up on for Stranger Things. Thoroughly enjoyed season 5. Great use of music as well, licensed and original music. I didn't really have negatives, really. Like I said, like the episodes were long, but I was never bored. Never bored this season. It's a lot of content though. Like the last episode is like 2 hours long or something like that. But enjoyed it all the way through. It was metal as hell at parts, which is awesome. It was emotional. Like it almost got me in some points. Like I rarely cry at like movies or TV, but this show almost got me, honestly. Like it really got me in my feelings though. Oh, and great performance from like a new character played by Joseph Quinn. Eddie. He was like a fan favorite character, in which, I mean, it's well deserved. A great new addition to the cast. He killed it. This season it was the best season of Stranger Things, I gotta say. Like it made me really way more interested in like the show. Yeah, now I can't wait to see how it ends, honestly. All right, like we already cracked at the top 5. Like these next 4 shows, like we're reaching like some of my favorite shows of all time type territory here. Number 4, a new show, HBO. It's called The Rehearsal. This show blew my mind. Wow, it was so good. Nathan Fielder, if you don't know him. Interesting comedian, I gotta say. Nathan For You was a great show on Comedy Central. He makes really great like documentary type content. The Rehearsal is like, the premise is so interesting. It's about what if you could hire actors so you could rehearse like something that you're going to experience in your real life. And the premise itself is just really interesting. And as the show goes on, it kind of centers on a central rehearsal that Nathan holds, and kind of like asks a lot of interesting questions about the morality of like is it deceiving people to like hire these actors, and the morality of the situation, and just the editing and the narration and the performance from Nathan, and his like the way he like feeds off of like the other actors and non-actors in the show. It's just pretty perfect show, honestly. Like almost perfect. It's just like, man, this is gonna go down as like a legendary show, honestly. It blew my mind, some of the stuff he was able to achieve here. Yeah, I can't really explain it that well. You just kind of have to watch the show to get it. It's on HBO. It's unbelievable. Nathan Fielder outdid himself, you know. He's outdone himself. Yeah. Let's go on to number 3. Number 3, we have The Boys, season 3. Funny thing, I saw the whole show for the first time this year, honestly. Like, this was a show that, well, to be fair, a couple years ago I saw the first 2 episodes of the show. My dad has been watching it from the beginning. He's been saying how good of a show it was, and he's been trying to get me to watch it. I saw like the first couple episodes like a year or 2 ago, and yeah, like I liked it, but I just didn't continue. But when season 3 was airing, he like really pushed me like, oh man, you gotta watch the show and catch up. So I decided to, and man, I was hooked. Season 1 and 2 I loved. Season 3 is just, man, another great season of the show. This is like I said before, kind of like a different take on like what, in some ways, like a more cynical take on the what would be like if superheroes or superpowered people, I shouldn't say heroes for a lot of these people, superpowered people existed in real life. Like how it would be perverted and twisted, and how corporations would take control of it, and how these people would actually act and all that. Season 3 like was so intense. Had great. The show is really funny, like always. Great moments of drama. Anthony Starr, he always kills it as Homelander. Season 3, he gave like another stellar performance. The addition of the new characters like Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy was great. It had some like really out there moments, like episode 1 with the character Termite, you know what I mean. Really explosive, I gotta say. In episode 6, Hero Gasm, mind-blowing episode, so good. Oh man, like the action, the comedy, everything's there in the show, I gotta say. Just, it's the best piece of superhero media last year, honestly. It's probably gonna go down as one of my favorite shows of all time. Man, I was missing out on the show. I should have been watching it all along, but hey, I'm glad I'm caught up now, and season 3 was really great. I really enjoy like the overall theme, and they talked about it a lot, especially in season 3 with like different characters of like the concept of power and how they can corrupt you, or how people can abuse power. And I don't know what people would do for a taste of power, honestly. All those topics and themes were really interesting, and I really like the way they tackled it this season. Number 2, we have Severance. This is on Apple TV Plus. Man, like I heard the show was good. I didn't know too much about it, and honestly, that's better. The less you know about like the actual plot of the story, and just watch it, the better it is. Because I didn't really know the plot of the story. I just heard it was good, so I checked it out, and I loved it, man. Adam Scott is the lead role there. Yeah, without giving away too much, it's about like the process of severance and all that. His character undergoes this process that kind of like split your mind in half in a way. You don't know what's going on. Your work, you have no memories of the outside world, and from the outside world, you have no memories of what goes on in work. So if you could just kind of like turn your brain off in a way, or like switch modes, that's basically the basic premise of it. But a lot more goes on. And it's about uncovering like the mystery of like the process and like the different characters and all that. Great mystery show, awesome acting, directing, amazing music. I love the music in the show. All of it is just such a satisfying mystery, and like, oh, they kind of ended in a cliffhanger, season 1, but hopefully I do know that season 2 has been picked up. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens next in the show. I don't want to give away too much, but great ensemble cast here. Everyone gives a great performance. No bad performance in sight here. Really intriguing show. And the way it unfolds and all that. Like the little clues and all that. Oh man. It seems like a show that'd be really great on a rewatch, where you can pick up on clues and things that are foreshadowing and all that. Man, really solid show. Which leads us to number 1. And this one was without a doubt for me what number 1 would be. My number 1 favorite show, the best show, whatever you want to call it, of 2022 was Barry. Easily on HBO. Bill Hader created the show, stars in it. He directed and wrote a lot of it as well. This is season 3. They stepped up. Season 1 and 2 are great. Season 3 was excellent. Man, it's such a good show. It's one of the funniest shows, one of the most intense shows. Everyone just fired on all cylinders, for real. The action was amazing. There's an episode that involves like a lot of the episode involves like a chase, like a motorcycle vehicle on foot. Just excellently directed, and man, I can't believe Bill Hader lost the Emmy for directing that episode. He should have won it for acting as well. Sarah Goldberg was completely snubbed. She killed it this season. She gave an excellent performance. Everyone gives an excellent performance. Henry Winkler was excellent. Man, Anthony Carrigan. Like, the whole cast was so good. The way the show's progressing, it's just, you never know what's going to happen in the show. That's why I'm really excited for season 4. Season 3 was so good. They stepped it up for real. It had some of the most intense moments I've seen on TV. Like you're just like speechless. You have no idea what's going to go on. It's so tense. Easily the number 1 show for me of 2022. Barry's going to go down as one of my favorite shows of all time, easily. I feel like, man, Bill Hader. Oh, I always enjoyed him. Like you know already. I'm a big fan of Saturday Night Live. He was great on that show. And I always thought he was funny, but I never knew he was capable of creating something this great. Like, trust me, the show is hilarious. But it's also so intense, and the drama is there, and the action and everything. The cinematography, the directing, everything is just there. The writing. Everyone brings their A game. Best show of the year. Hands down. That was the top 50 shows of 2022 for me. Actually, it was every show I saw from the year, ranked from least favorite or worst to best to favorite. I don't know exactly. It's a mix of like favorite and best. I don't know. The way I ranked it was kind of a mix of like the actual like quality and just how much I enjoyed it, honestly. But yeah, hope you enjoyed my thoughts on this. I want to do more like reviews of movies and TV this year and all that, and do more content in general on this channel. I hope you enjoyed that list. Yeah, I have more ideas for lists if you guys are interested, or you have ideas of your own that you want me to talk about. Leave them in the comments down below, and yeah, I'll be excited to discuss all that with you. But man, 2022 honestly was a good year for me for TV. I gotta say, like even the shows like on the bottom of the list, like I've either enjoyed a lot in the past or honestly didn't dislike. Just there are other shows that are better. And like I said, there are plenty of shows that either I didn't get to watch yet or just not caught up in, so I didn't include it in the list. I know there's shows that people are saying are really good that I haven't gotten around to seeing. So if it's not on the list, that's probably the reason why. There are some shows that just not interested in, so I didn't watch it as well. So that's a factor. So yeah, let me know down below though. What are some of your favorite shows of 2022? And what are some shows you're looking forward to coming out in 2023 this year? Yeah. With that being said, hope you all enjoyed the video. Catch you all next time. Bye.